I'd like to start by welcoming you all today. Perhaps you could start by putting your name and where you're coming from in the chat box, please. So jump in the chat box, and if you could just write in there, make sure the chat box is addressed to panelists and attendees, and give us your name and where you're from. So thanks. Dominique from Hong Kong, good afternoon, or maybe good evening at this time of day. Good to have you with us. Reggie from Jakarta. We've got Jay from India, Machik from Poland, Basil from South Africa, Kamal from India, Sergio from Mexico, and Sari from Muscat, beautiful Muscat in Oman. I spend quite a lot of time in Oman myself, so good to have you with us. Devin from Hong Kong, Ray from South Africa. So please, if you're just joining us now, put your name and where you're dialing in from into the chat so we all know who we've got on the call today. Any others? Any others? I see we've got 30 people or so already. Zulfi from New Delhi, welcome. Any other thoughts? Who else have we got? We've got Magda from South Africa. Welcome to Magda. Becky from South Africa. Tetiana from Belgium. Welcome. Slightly closer to home. I'm sitting here in the UK today. It's pouring with rain, but that is just how it goes in the UK from time to time. Who else have we got? We've got Stephen from Hong Kong. Stephen, I recognize Stephen. Good to have you with us, Stephen. Andres from Colombia. Hope you're doing well, Stephen, and we'll get some questions, no doubt, from you later on. Who else do we have? We'll just give it another couple of minutes before we get started. We have Cesarina here. We have Cabello from South Africa. So I think we will get started. We've only got an hour and there's quite a lot to get started with. So let's get through the program. You're joining us for this introductory webinar to the Postgrad Diploma in Digital Business. And what I'm planning to do here is once we've got everyone's names in there, Sergio from Brazil, some more people coming in here. Please, can you put any questions you have as we go through this in the Q&A. We'll be looking in the Q&A a little later and taking those questions one by one. We'll also be looking at the chat. So if you're going to put a comment in the chat, please make sure, as I've addressed on the screen here, that this is marked for all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, not everyone else can see what you're saying. Keep yourself on mute, please, unless we unmute you and you've got something to say. It'd be good to have a conversation going, but let's do most of the questions at the end of this session. So what are we going to cover today? This looks like a long list, but don't worry, we won't be spending a huge amount of time on any one of these. So this is a quick overview of the program. We're going to kick off introducing the faculty. Tell you a bit about Emeritus if you haven't done any programs with Emeritus already. We'll look at some views that we've developed over the years about the perfect formula for learning and online learning. Emeritus is a pioneer in developing online learning programs and delivering them. So we'll talk about that. We then look at some of the participants who have been through this program and where they've come from, what they've been doing and what they've gone on to do. But we'll spend the majority of our time looking at the program itself. So we'll be looking at the course overview, looking at the modules and the webinars, a quick overview of the platform, the learning platform, and then finally the logistics around the fee and the application process. And I hope that by the end of this session, which includes a Q&A at the end, you'll be convinced that this is indeed a good way for you to progress your digital knowledge and digital skills to accelerate your career in the digital world. So let's just kick off then by looking at the faculty itself. So I'm a course leader. I've been working with Emeritus for some time. I do three things for a living. I run a consultancy business called Burn the Sky, and we help organizations develop and deliver their digital strategies. My focus is really around digital transformation, e-commerce, user experience, and mobile marketing, mobile commerce. I spend most of my time, well, pre-lockdown, I spent over half the year traveling and working abroad, mainly in the Middle East, mainly in Asia Pacific. So being stuck in the UK for all these months is a little unusual for me in recent years, but it's good nonetheless to be running a lot of these programs. Indeed, I work with Emeritus on 3 programs. One of them, I know some of you on the program, I've led that course on digital disruption, and it's great to see you guys coming back to get engaged in this program also. So Emeritus is an important client where I create content, deliver it, and also run the course leadership role. I also work extensively with Google, again, developing and delivering programs for the Google Digital Academy. And I'm a director with the London Institute of Banking and Finance and spend a lot of my time working in the banking sector, probably 20 banks around the world that we've worked with in the last 12 months. You can see some of the clients there and an interesting spread of banks, telcos, pharmaceutical, FMCG or packaged goods businesses, and also retail and auto. So I've got quite a broad range of clients that I've been working with. And I've also written 3 books on mobile strategy, mobile commerce, and I hope that my insights are valuable as you progress your learning journey. A bit about Emeritus then. If you're not familiar with Emeritus, this is a business which has been set up by 2 former business school alumni, one from INSEAD and one from Harvard, who came up with this concept a while back to develop and deliver world-class learning for students of all ages wanting to get the best-in-class learning, but without the ability to go and travel and work and study in the US or in Europe. And indeed, what we've seen thanks to the lockdown and the pandemic is a requirement, of course, for all of us to stay put, to stay home, which is an excellent time to be developing our digital knowledge and our digital skills. It's very clear that the technology we're using right here with the Zoom platform and a number of the online learning tools are absolutely good enough. And I would argue actually online learning is superior in some ways to face-to-face because we have more time for reflection, more time between the different modules, and therefore more time to apply the learnings and do so also collaboratively with people in different markets and in different sectors, which is where the real richness of this program comes. We work at Emeritus with some of the biggest and best universities and business schools around the world. And we've extended their face-to-face programs to tens of thousands of students in recent years, 50,000, I think, the most recent number. On a personal note, I've been very engaged recently working with the Emeritus team to develop programs for Indian universities and the many tens of thousands of students based in the subcontinent wanting to extend their knowledge based on learnings from all over the world. Our formula is quite simple, but it's proven to be very effective. What we do is we combine live webinars where you'll be face-to-face with the faculty, assignments, graded assignments, which allow us to track how well you've understood the concepts delivered, and a very important part of this, which is peer-to-peer learning. So this is where you are working together in groups and developing your responses to the assignments in partnership with other students. So you'll see the icons on the screen here. We're bringing together the very best of academic learning We're bringing guest lecturers to come in and present their area of expertise, whatever their subject matter expertise may be. For me, I run a program and I will be one of your guest speakers on this course around designing and building world-class websites and apps. So that's all around great user experience and marketing in that domain. We like to break our learnings down into bite-sized modules. Of course, we're all busy doing other things. And as you're not taking a full-time sabbatical from your work to study, we understand the need to provide this learning in small breakdown bite-sized learning chunks that then when assembled together give you the full learning experience, but without needing to block out that time exclusively. Peer-to-peer, I've mentioned, hugely valuable, and in all the feedback that we get, this is always one of the most important experiences that the learners have to learn from each other. We also have simulations, so we simulate real-life experiences and real-life applications. So we're bringing in a lot of case studies. A lot of what we discuss is going out of date very quickly, and we're constantly updating the materials with more recent examples. Mobile learning, it's a subject close to my heart, but as most of us are spending time with our mobile phones, a lot of learning has been designed in a way which can be engaged with using a small device, and then the grading and evaluation makes sure that you need to be really showing and demonstrating an understanding of the principles in order to get this qualification. And of course, if you don't have that process, the qualification is somewhat meaningless. The Emeritus Network has slowly but surely grown to be quite an extensive organization. And there are many benefits here for you as a student. The obvious stuff is tuition through the learning. We run office hour sessions in these programs, which allow you an opportunity to share any questions you may have about the learning and speak to your course leader to get answers to the questions. They can either be discussed in a 1-hour weekly forum, or in some cases you can be working with a parallel channel. It could be using Slack or using WhatsApp or using a LinkedIn group, which allows you to keep the dialogue going and have the assistance of your tutor as you go through the program. There is, of course, the network effect. We talk about the network effect in digital transformation, but it's very important in our learning experiences too. So you'll be connecting with a large number of alumni, of fellow students who then become alumni. I know many cases of people who have met on these programs with Emeritus and gone on to create very productive partnerships and in some cases future businesses by working together. We run events. Of course, these are digital at the moment, but they will be face-to-face when the world returns to normal, whatever that looks like. We also have support for startups, and we have extended learning and extended programs above and beyond the one that we're talking about here today. And as I mentioned earlier, some of you on the call I know very well from having been a course leader on other programs. And then we do run also Emeritus groups, which you can join whether LinkedIn or using other forums. So let's turn our attention now to the diploma itself. And this is the reason why I'm sure most of you have wanted to dial in today. If I can take, Zulfi, if I can take your question and your feedback a little later, I'd like just to go through the program. But what I'm reading here is you seem to be very supportive of the peer-to-peer learning experience. I will, when it comes to selection of candidates, I'll come on to that point a little bit later. So thanks for your question there. So what is the course all about? Well, as I'm sure you've already seen on the website and in any discussions you've had with this program support team, this is a postgrad program. It's 9 months in duration, and it includes, and you should be allowing, at least 4 hours a week in order to complete this. A combination of the live webinars, videos, pre-recorded videos, and graded assignments. And we cover the essential pillars of creating a digital business. So the first 6 months of the course are spent working through 3 separate programs. Now, these 3 separate programs are available as standalone digital courses. What we've done in this case is to group them together. So you'll be starting off with the Digital Strategies for Business program, Leading Next Generation Enterprise. This is one I've just finished running as a course leader. The Digital Transformation Platform Strategies for Success module is the second one. And then the third one is Digital Marketing Strategy, Customer Engagement, Social Media Planning and Analytics. So that's the core of the course. We then follow that with 3 months where you'll be doing a capstone assignment. And the capstone assignment is designed to help you put the learnings from the first 3 modules, the first 3 courses, into a practical example, a practical case, which will then be graded. So at the end of that, we will have watched very carefully your learning journey develop over the 9-month period. And then for those of you, and we expect the vast majority of you who diligently work through the program, you will get your qualification at the end. This program is developed in partnership with MIT, and MIT, that's the Digital Transformation Platform program, and the other 2, Digital Strategies for Business and Digital Marketing Strategy, those are Columbia Business School programs. So that's the course itself. And I don't really feel the need to go into this in any more detail. I've covered these points already, but this is the formula that we've developed, which has proven again and again to be very successful in a whole range of courses that we have developed and deliver through the Emeritus team and in partnership with the business schools. And just worth mentioning for completeness, the other business schools we work with are linked to, or rather are based in the US. I don't have on here Harvard, I don't have in here Berkeley, 2 of our big partners in the US. In Europe, we work very closely with INSEAD, Cambridge Judge Business School, and then we're working more and more now with some of the big business schools in India, IIMK, all of the ones mentioned. I have personally been involved in developing and delivering those programs. And the list goes on, and it's growing all the time. So Emeritus is a great business, growing very fast, and our real focus is making sure that we provide the best possible learning experience and regularly check in on a weekly basis to get your feedback on the course. And then we change the courses in order of priority of feedback to make sure that we're constantly iterating, which is, of course, very digital in nature. So in this course, you'll be seeing over the 9 months, a lot of content. You'll be looking at videos, a lot of video lectures, which are pre-recorded. And the beauty here, of course, is that you can watch the video on catch up if you're unable to watch it live. We do these in the middle of the day. So typically at this time in the day, which is in the evening, or rather early evening in Asia Pacific. It's in the morning in the USA, and it's sort of midday for people in the European time zones. But of course, if for various reasons, quite understandably, you can't join a live session or watch a live webinar, it's all recorded and you can see that in catch up when it suits you. A lot of assignments, some of these will be short assignments, short discussion-based assignments. Some of them are a bit more in depth and require a little bit more thought and preparation. We look at a lot of case studies. We have a discussion forum, which is very effective in encouraging people to voice their own opinions and come up with their own ideas, but also actively we elicit the feedback from other students. And it's this peer-to-peer learning, which is proving to be extremely valuable. It's often the case that in true digital style, an initial idea can quickly be elaborated on and challenged by other students, and the result is a much more rounded consideration of the topic that's being tackled that week, rather than just asking everyone to write a 300 discussion piece without looking at what other people are saying. So that's part of our peer-to-peer approach. The simulations, the capstone project I've mentioned, and a lot of online teaching sessions, online live teaching sessions. And the live teaching sessions also are accompanied by a Q&A session with David Rogers, who I'm going to come on and talk about in just a moment. In fact, right now, David Rogers and Jeff Parker are the two key players in your learning journey here. David, I know well. I've had the great pleasure of meeting David, delivering a live program and also introducing on a number of webinars, live webinars that he gives. David is a key faculty member for us. He's faculty based with Columbia Business School in the US, and has a lot of experience working with some pretty big brands around their digital strategy. You can see them up there: Google, GE, Toyota, the list goes on. He's also led strategic workshops in over 64 countries. Some of them I've been working with him in also. And he's founded this concept of Bright, Brands, Innovation and Technology, as a live conference. And please feel free to reach out to David. I'm sure you'll get to know him rather well when you're on the course itself. The other one is Jeff Parker. Jeff Parker is visiting scholar and research fellow at the MIT on the digital economy. And his real focus is around distributed innovation, business platform strategy, technical economic systems, and he works closely in the renewables sector. Both of them have written guides, and these guides are going to be an important part of your learning journey. Now, you don't have to buy them. Of course, you don't have to buy them, but they're quite useful companion texts. And as you're going through the program, the guides provide very important background reading, which helps to contextualize to a large degree the learnings that are then elaborated on in the live sessions and in the recorded videos that you'll be seeing as we go through the program. So the basic framework that underpins this course is the customer network framework developed by David Rogers. And the 5 key components are, as one might expect, access to start with. We need to access our audience. So we need to know about the customer and know the best ways in which we can reach them. Of course, as we all know from our business worlds and our private lives, there are digital migrants and there are digital natives. And the more we know about customers, we know about their customer profiles, the segmentations that we can develop, the more insights we get about them as human beings. And what we need to do as marketers is to find a way of connecting with them using the right channels which will engage them. And to engage them, that's the second of our pillars here, we need to be using the right content, and we need to be using the most influential ways of contacting them. It's not these days about selling anymore. Smart marketers don't sell at all, they educate. They help customers to decide for themselves what are the most effective and what are the most impactful brands and services they should be engaged with. And it's far more than price, of course. So having a strong brand image and providing content which is truly compelling is critical. And that's what we'll be looking at in the engagement section. But it's not one size fits all. Every customer is different. And while they may look rather similar on a database, they are most likely to be very much more different than similar. So we need to think about how we can customize our comms. And with the vast amounts of data out there, we're in a good position to pick up signals of intent and then customize our response. And not just sell to our customers, but allow the networks that they've developed to help happy customers, satisfied customers, share content with their networks. So the connect part follows on and drives into the last piece, and arguably the one where there's the most to win, and the most to lose, which is to develop a collaborative approach to developing the business. And collaboration doesn't just mean making sure the marketing people talk to the data people and the product people are talking to the customer insights people, but it's about getting everyone to collaborate and work together internally, but also with external collaboration partners. So this is the core framework that we'll be building around. And I don't want to go through every single one of these bullet points in detail. I'll just pick out a couple of the main ones though. In order to do this, if I look at the second one, we need to be moving away from established and somewhat outdated ways of working, where one department does one thing, another department does something else. We need to be developing an agile mindset which allows us to develop an experimental way of working, but an experimental way where we are testing and learning and improving at all times, because it's the measurement of what works, but also an assessment of what doesn't work, which allows us to derive the greatest learnings, which allow us in turn to be far more effective as marketers and innovate in a rapid and highly collaborative manner. So that's a really important point. The next one around data. Of course, we are swimming in a sea of data. As customers, we are giving off huge amounts of data. What we're opening, what we're liking, what we're sharing, all of these are important signals of intent. But as a business, we've got to be very smart at knowing not just how to capture data, but how to consolidate different data sets, which may somewhat conflict with one another, and then critically to see the story that that data is telling us about the needs, both satisfied and unmet needs, that give us opportunities to be ever more effective in launching better services and indeed maybe launching brand new products which have not yet been provided. And it's this data, and we'll look exclusively here at the skill of developing a data strategy where we can really unlock the true value of data. Data is not just a static force. Sometimes people think of data lakes, they just sort of sit there where data is held. But we need to think about how we can build dams and build up the real power of the data and unlock that power to affect change in a highly profitable way. The platform business we'll come on to in a moment, building a proposition roadmap, experimental mindset. So these are all key parts of the learning experience that we go through. We'll be looking at a lot of case studies here, case studies which reveal different aspects of the business challenge that you're all facing. We'll be looking, for example, at Walmart. Every retailer has been threatened by Amazon. We need to make sure that we understand how businesses can resist disruption from Amazon and other digital pioneers, and how they can develop their own connected experiences for their customers. Looking at digital transformation and effective model transformation, just think for a minute how Netflix has completely disintermediated the entertainment world, and having a clear understanding of the customer and the customer's needs, Netflix can then be making very accurate predictions about future viewing intent, and in doing so, drive a very profitable subscription model, which has gone through the roof with COVID, of course, because people are spending more time at home. On the platform business, Jeff Rogers talks very powerfully about how different platform businesses can develop, how they can scale, and some of the issues around with governing platforms. Really interesting example, SAP. So this German business, as I'm sure you all know, if you're SAP customers yourselves, provides a huge amount of information about or various complementary services within the SAP ecosystem, which allow SAP partners to cross-sell and upsell their products and allow the user to get access to an ever wider range of services from a single point. However, there are certain challenges here, and what we do here is look at how that platform has evolved and some of the conflicts that SAP has to moderate in the center. And then the digital marketing strategy, the fourth of the program, fourth module here. This is a program I know very well, and Coca-Cola is one of the brands that we feature. We ask all participants to align to one of the 4 different brands that are featured going through this program, and then we look at developing a strategy that specifically focuses on Coca-Cola or other brands featured in the program, which is a great way of anchoring the learnings with a business that we all have an understanding of, and then that helps us to reflect on how to apply those learnings to our own business. So I'd just like to have a little pause here. I've been talking for 30 minutes, which is never a good thing. And I'd like to see if we have any questions now before we move on to some of the more logistical aspects of the course. So any questions about the content itself that I can answer, please feel free to jump on the Q&A if you have any questions, or go in the chat, or feel free also to ask a question yourself. So I've got Srini here Srini's put a hand up. So Srini, let's hear from you. What is your question? And Srini, you're good to talk.
Sorry, that was accidental.
Oh, that was okay, no problem. I've done it myself many times. We all do, no problem with that. So we've got a question also from, who else has raised a hand here? I see Magda. So Magda, you're good to talk. What's your question, Magda?
I see a lot of case studies or a lot of work is done regarding case studies. I would like to understand, obviously it's nice to look at, you know, what's out there, but how do you actually apply it within your own business or the company that you work with? I see the assignments, you've indicated there's quite a few. If you could, maybe it will sort of link to the assignment question of working with real life problems in real life businesses and solving it while you're actually doing this course. Is this the way structured?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the underlying, the quick answer is anyone can just go on a website and look at a pre-recorded course and take what they take from that one-way communication. Our approach is very different. Our approach is all about understanding how other businesses do it and help you to apply those learnings to your business. The capstone assignment, 3 months of capstone assignment, allow you to select the business that you want to focus on. And if that's your own business, to assess what the problem is that you're looking to solve in your business, and then apply using the 3 different pillars that we go through in the rest of the program, the relevant learnings, and put together a business plan which allows you to incorporate those into the business itself. So that's kind of the macro answer to your question, Magda. And to put a bit more detail, on each course, there will be a discussion group, or rather a discussion thread, where week by week, as we go through the program, we'll be asking you to reflect on the learnings that week and how to apply the learnings for that week to your business. So it's a quick week by week and session by session. We'll be asking you to look at each of those weeks in turn and what learnings can you apply to your business. And then at the end of the program, a 3-month block for the capstone where you do the same, but at a macro level. Does that help with the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So any other questions we have? Any other questions? Please feel free to, okay, I've got some questions here in the chat. So Amit, will we have a predefined course material provided every week? Yes, Amit. So what we do is we unlock on a week-by-week basis the content that you will be studying in the week ahead. That way, we don't bombard you with 9 months worth of learning for you to then go through it in your own time without any guidance. But we have a quite a sort of structured approach where week by week we introduce the next session, the next week's worth of learning, and that helps us to make sure everyone's looking at the videos, going on the live webinars at the same time, which makes the discussion groups far more valuable, the office hours sessions more valuable than having everyone looking at different bits in their own time frame. Kamal, how much is marketing versus transformation in the project? That's a great question, and I find it rather difficult to distinguish between the two. If you don't have a transformation mindset, an agile mindset, which takes into consideration the very broad principles of capturing data, understanding customer centricity and what the customer is doing, understanding how to apply and deploy data and technology in a real-time way, then the marketing becomes rather meaningless. On the other hand, great marketing does require a clear vision, a clear messaging strategy, and a very smart deployment of different marketing channels, each of which are impacted by data and technology. So I think it's very difficult to extricate marketing from transformation. If you look at the modules in turn, that said, you'll see that the digital marketing strategy program, the third one, has a clear focus on the marketing, and the digital platform piece has quite a big focus on the technology and how to bring the different strands together. And the digital strategies for the digital strategies for business course, the first one, has quite a heavy emphasis on data and data strategy. But so there is linkage between them. There's a common strand running through this whole diploma program, but you won't see, but you will see there is some focus depending on each of the courses and the designation, the way I've described them already. Dennis, will we use our case studies or will we work through suggested cases? So I hope the question to Magda, my answer to Magda, helped answer that one, Dennis. So we'll be looking at case studies, we'll be showing best practice, but we will be encouraging you certainly in the canvas, sorry, in the capstone, to apply the learnings to your business. So it won't just be about what's Amazon, what's Uber doing, but there'll be a clear focus on application to your business also. So Reggie, you mentioned that there'll be a number of group assignments. I'm just interested to know more on how the group assignments be done when the participants are so far apart. Yeah, good question. So we've got, so the way we work this is we encourage you to work with people who have similar challenges. So if you're in a time zone where it's easier for you to be liaising with your other fellow learners, we would suggest that you work together in similar groups, and that logistically makes it easier for you to be doing the collaborative working. You may decide that if you're working in one sector, you want to reach out to other learners representing the same sector. I see on some of the courses I run that we have people in banking, for example, or in pharmaceutical who like to work closely together because they face similar regulatory challenges, for example. So there is flexibility, but typically we like to group people by shared interest and shared challenges, which assists that peer-to-peer learning. Salil here. How does the course help a sales professional? I work for an organization and implement sales strategies which marketing department asks us to. So being a pure salesperson, how will this help me? Well, I would say that these days, Salil, you may be paid and well, you may have a job description and your KPIs may be linked to increasing the volume of sales or the value of your customer base. But to do so in isolation is really missing the point. I think we need to figure out how you can work very closely with your marketing team. The more you understand about the marketers and the marketing teams, the better you will be as a salesperson. The better they understand the challenges you're facing on the front end, talking to the customers, the more effective their marketing will be. So I'd say, sorry, on one level, we all should be good at many different jobs to be effective in the digital age. And as a salesperson, the more you know about what happens behind the scenes, the more valuable your service will be when you're talking to your customers. So I would say this is a valuable course for you, but it would be valuable for you also to share some of your learnings with the marketing people, with the tech people, with the product people. And what we see often is that within a business, many people from the same organization attend these courses, and the shared learnings are what is really valuable. Wanted to ask something about Capstone. Anirban, do you want to, yeah, please, you're good to talk now. Anirban, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, Rob. Thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
One small thing I wanted to clarify. As far as the capstone topic is concerned, I would like to believe that we will be in a position to choose the topic for the project, right?
Well, you'll be able to choose the business that you want to develop the capstone for.
Right.
The topic itself, well, you've got 3 months here, so it's going to be a broad challenge. Now, we can't prescribe precisely whether it's going to be launching a new product set or developing a collaborative platform with your customers, or finding people who look like competitors, but actually they could be with an asymmetrical relationship. They could be people you work with very closely and form a very powerful win-win combination. So it's for you to determine what you think, what you would like to work on, and then share that back with the Emeritus team for any feedback before you go off and do this. What I would say is that we expect the capstone assignments to all be rather different given the nature of the businesses that you're representing, and that you will get strong support from the learning support team and from your course leader as you go through the 3-month process of creating your capstone project. Does that help you?
A small little clarification. Basically, I was given to understand that a capstone will be done by a cohort, basically a set of people, right?
You will be working together with others, yes. So the capstones will be, to rephrase it, the capstones will be different because we'll be looking at a number of capstone responses, assignment responses, but we'll have different learners contributing, working together on that capstone assignment. So to go back to what I said a few moments ago, we encourage people with shared interests and with shared challenges to work together, because there's a more valuable learning that way in working together on the same response to whichever capstone subject they select.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So I'm conscious there's a load of questions here, but we've got a few more slides to work through. So if I may, we've got 15 minutes left. What I'd like to do is run through the remaining slides, the logistics slides here, and then I can come back to the questions after that, the remaining questions after that. So the diploma is structured in a way that you will be given this 3-month period to develop the capstone, and the capstone will, as we've just discussed here, give you a chance to work together to strategize what is the implementation that you will be putting into place. So come up with a clearly defined business challenge, and then develop the execution plan, which at the very heart includes some clearly defined measurements and metrics, so we can be assessing what you're doing truly does deliver against some preset objectives, which allow you then to iterate and improve as you go along, and also put together a very active plan, a next steps plan. Back to my earlier comment, we want to make sure this is very practical in nature and not just conceptual and framework led, although the frameworks do underpin the learning. We want to make sure that once you finish the project, it really is digital ready and you could apply it to your business, subject to sign off from whoever needs to allocate the budget. You will be supervised very closely as we go through the program, and we do for professional reasons and for your own credibility. We want to make sure that this is fair. We want to make sure that each of the programs is graded and you get a grade point average for the 3 programs, the 3 main modules as you go through the program, and then the capstone itself, that is also graded and moderated. And as a minimum requirement, you need 4.67 points out of 10 for the overall program, and you need to get at least 5 points for the capstone in order to receive the diploma at the end of the program. Now, we understand the importance of fairness. We understand the importance of rewarding people for the hard work they put in. I hope none of you have got children who have been adversely affected by unclear and unfair grading. We've got a bit of a disaster in my country right now. One of my kids is involved in this, where we haven't been able to sit exams this year, and therefore there's a great sense that all the work that goes into schoolwork and preparation doesn't get the right reward. We want to make sure this doesn't happen on our programs at Emeritus, so the grading is done very carefully, and there's a lot of scrutiny that goes into what you do, and we have a very fair grading system to make sure that you get truly graded for the work that you put in. Benefits, if I need to clarify this, let me quickly do this now. The benefits for your organization and for the employees. It should be clear that these days, getting the best people into your business and keeping them in your business is not just about throwing a lot of money at them. For so many of us these days, learning and a constant desire to keep learning is absolutely critical. So we see there's a real value in the organization to hire and to keep supporting the learning experiences of their staff, the most valuable asset most organizations have. Keep them motivated, keep investing in their education. And this is a very good case in point. For the employees, learning from the world's leading business schools and faculty, the ability to keep earning on the job and learning on the side means there's no, well, it's financially, this is a viable model and allows you to accelerate your career as you go along. And there are many great case studies on the Emeritus website there from students who have done just this. Who will you be working with, or who will you be learning with? You'll be in good company. This is not a course for people who have just left university. You need to have a significant amount of work experience to get the most out of this course. That's why you see that 1 to 5 years of experience, that's a very small proportion of the learners. the majority of learners have between 15 and 25 years of experience. So we're talking about people who really understand business and understand some of the challenges that business presents. And therefore, this is a very practical program which allows them, with that knowledge and that experience, to figure out how to apply the learnings most effectively. So we have also an average age of 35. We have a lot of industries coming in onto these programs, over 22 so far, and a lot of geographic diversity. So people represented from a whole range of different markets around the world. Now, we can't give you an exact pie chart for this course because we haven't yet finished our application process, although that's happening very shortly. So you'll be working with a very diverse group of experienced people from multiple sectors: banking, IT, consulting, healthcare, telco being the biggest ones, but there's a long tail of others in addition. And I think you need to just half close your eyes and look at this screen to realize we do work with and we do run programs for some of the world's biggest brands. And these are either executives wanting to find their way up to the top, or those who are working and wanting to develop the skills, maybe to move job and get a role with another business. So from a whole range of sectors here, whether it's retail, it's telco, it's packaged goods, it's financial services or consulting, what else have we got? Platform businesses, IT businesses, even airlines and travel. There's a very broad range of people who have been through this course and progressed their careers as a result. So what we look for in our students is people with initiative, people who are wanting not just to do the day job, but to strive to do more, to keep challenging and to keep asking not just what is done, but why are things not done in different ways. People who want to make things happen, people who are doers and not thinkers alone. People with a real ambition and real vision. People who understand that what works in one country does not necessarily work in another country, and we need to be very creative in applying principles and localizing them as the need may be. People who are passionate, people who are hungry to learn, and people who do have work experience. Now, I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but the program support team are the people who will be making this assessment. We are very careful, back to one of your earlier questions in the chat here, we're careful about who we select. We make sure that they have the requisite skills and requisite track record academically, but also in terms of language skills. This is a course that's delivered in English language. So if you do not have English as your first language, we do require evidence of proficiency, business English proficiency, and a score of whatever these numbers mean, 550 if it's TOEFL, or 6 out, a point of 6 if it's an IELTS. Again, I'm afraid I'm not an expert in these numbers or these acronyms, but the program support team are, and they will certainly assist you in the application process. We do need proof of any previous diplomas or degrees that you have done also. In terms of the fees, the investment you're making here, and by the way, I would say it is an investment, it's not a cost. You're investing in your future and you're investing in your business's capabilities, which indeed is an investment. $3,000 US. If you're subject to government state tax in Singapore, then there are installment options available there. If you are looking to pay in installments, that's something we can discuss with you. We do require an application fee of $50, which is, I'm afraid, non-refundable. The start date is the 27th, which is just 10 days away, and we'll be taking applications right up until the 25th. Again, if you've got any questions or you want to require the payments, please do talk to program support. And last, I would just say, If you've not done an emeritus course before and you're not familiar with it, we spend a lot of time looking at different learning management platforms. The one we work with is called Canvas. It's proven to be extremely versatile, both for the learner and for the moderator, the facilitator, the course leader. And it allows you a very simple dashboard where all your course material is hosted. You create your own profile up here. All of your weekly module material is clickable from that button there and opens up. You'll see videos, you'll see assignments, you'll see discussion forums, all sitting beneath that. And the grading, the assignment grading is updated as you go through the program, so you can see how well you are progressing. You've got your own calendar, you've got your own inbox, which makes this communication very easy within the single Canvas platform. This is also available as an app, iOS and Google, which allows you to be getting your native version of this embedded straight into your smartphone. And at the end of it, assuming you get the right qualifications, this is what you will receive. And this itself, of course, is a very important benefit of the program. I would argue it's not the most important one, but it's an important benefit in helping you to justify your investment, but also to put on your LinkedIn profile and to share with your networks and your employees that you have indeed been through the program and got the requisite qualification that's both certified by MIT and Columbia Business School. So that gives us just a few moments for any further questions. I'd like to jump back into the Q&A and also into the chat. So I'm going to take one from Narisha here. I work at a broadcaster, excited to transform my mindset in terms of digital platforms. I am still stuck in the idea of television only. I myself run everything off the internet in my home. Great. Well, it sounds like you're in the right mindset for digital disruption, and you should find no shortage of material here to help you. Dina, familiar name Dina here. I think I've trained you before on a previous program. Do you have a rubric for us to follow for graded projects? Yes, there will be a rubric shared, so you know what you will be expected to complete. You'll need to check with program support how frequently the rubric is shared with you. I'd like to jump across here and see what else, what questions have we got here? Okay, so Wilhelm here, why is the third course not related to digital transformation, but more to marketing? Okay, so Willem, I think we touched on this point earlier. Transformation and marketing, very closely linked. I mean, I would say to do a course on digital transformation in 8 weeks, which is the duration of the module, is very difficult. But such is the importance of customer centricity and understanding the customer and understanding these 5 different approaches: access, engage, customize, connect, and collaborate. We believe that that in itself comfortably warrants a standalone module, which is why we have put that separately. I would say to answer your question, Willem, transformation should be seen as a combination of all 3 programs together, which give a more complete learning of the transformation process. Funeka, do we need access to our organizational data for some of the assessments? We do understand that while some of you may want to feature your own business in the assignment responses, and indeed in the capstone, that data may well be confidential. And so we do not expect you to share organizational data. You may use dummy data. And if you do use your own data, it has to be on the basis that we don't want to be held responsible for that data being shared with third parties. If people in the cohort are seeing your data and that's shared by you, that should not be on Emeritus to get involved in that conversation. And indeed, we have very clearly defined GDPR accredited regulatory issues around data usage. So that would be for you to decide, but we certainly don't expect you to use that data. Other than the books recommended, will there be resources or guiding templates to walk away with and apply for future initiatives? Yes, Gabrielle, there certainly will. There'll be an extensive reading resource. We do share, as we go through the program, relevant videos, relevant case studies, articles to share, and indeed the parallel WhatsApp group, if your course leader decides to introduce this, and there'll be more than one course leader on the program, of course, given the number of students, then that's also a very good way of sharing information. So please do feel free to jump in there and apply or to load as many different articles as you can, and that will, I'm sure, be valuable for you as you go through the program. Ranjit, is there an active careers service? Is there scope for geographic career moves? Please talk to the program support team on that one, Ranjit. I know there is support available. I can't tell you exactly what that looks like, but I would say that you will be meeting people on the course, and we do encourage people to make contact with one another, and they can informally keep those conversations going. So application link. Yes, so there is an application link for the program. We're pretty much out of time now, so I need to stop talking, but please feel free to click on the chat and you will find an application form there. We have a few spaces available, and clearly the first come, first serve, but we very much hope that you will be signing up, and we really look forward to seeing you on this course. I would just reiterate my earlier point. An investment in your own education and your own capabilities as a digital professional will be repaid several times over. But I think the initiative, if it's not coming from you, it really should be coming from you. So I hope you find value in this session. Well, I do encourage you to go and look at the testimonials if you need to on the website of former students. And I wish you a very successful learning journey. And of course, I wish you every fortune, and please keep safe while this pandemic thing works its way out of the system. And in the meantime, have a very enjoyable rest of your day and look forward to seeing you in the future. So with that, we'll close this webinar.